Hello, and welcome, friends. Negotiating is a game of information. He who uses the available information best wins. Whether you're buying baseball cards, basketball cards, or picking garage sales to find cool stuff to resell, it helps to know how to negotiate. Tip 1. All information in, no information out. Don't come off as dripping with desire or appear overly thirsty about that 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan that's in front of you, because if you do, your deal could disappear like a mirage in the desert. Don't reveal unnecessary expertise, knowledge, or information about your personal situation unless you feel that it's beneficial in the moment. Expressing need or necessity is a weakness that opens you to exploitation. Simply put, you're giving your opponent information that they can and will use against you like a court of law. I like to say that arrogance is honesty with confidence, but expressing overconfidence is also a weakness. If you seem too excited, it can spook someone into thinking that you're gleefully ripping them off. And the last thing you want to do is miss out on that Magic Johnson rookie card because you offend the seller. Neutrality is maximum leverage, and leverage, my friends, is king. Tip 2. Everyone's situation is different. People operate in their own unique financial and circumstantial bubble, and the psychology of what motivates or demotivates changes from person to person. Being good at negotiating means being able to unravel the mystery of what influences a person psychologically based on the information that they give you. The perception of what's important plays a key role in how you'll approach and how aggressively you can approach the price of a card or a sports card collection when bargaining. A good example of this is that live poker players will often tell you exactly how to beat them. They'll let you know how they think, what their fears are. They may say something like, "I knew you had the flush, so I folded my set." I'm sure you guys have heard something like that. This person's mistake is to fold too often on scary boards with hands that they should call with, even if they're not happy about it. You exploit them by bluffing a lot and turning weak-made hands like bottom two pair into a bluff, hoping that they stick with their read and fold their set because the flush got there. This correlates to people revealing too much information about their unique situation when buying or selling. Why are they interested in buying or selling? What motivates them? How much necessity is within that motivation? Meaning, is it nothing important, or does it need to be dealt with ASAP? How much leverage do you have, and where does that leverage come from? Necessity leads to fear, which leads to leverage. Think of all the what-if scenarios that play out in your head on a daily basis that you sometimes make an emotional decision based on. FOMO, or fear of missing out, is a prime example of this. You hear some sports card news, you fear missing out, you make an emotional decision, and now you got a stack of 20 Nelson Aguilars and nothing to do with them. What are you going to do? Some things that motivate people include the following: needing space, needing to move, their wife is upset about one thing or another, a baby's on the way, they need a new car, they lost their job or had their hours cut, need to pay rent or living expenses. All of these things win out versus keeping collectibles. They're the first thing to go when the shit hits the fan. You can often negotiate a lower price based on unfavorable variables for the seller, because selling for a lower price, even if they're unhappy about it, is more important than the risk or fear of losing the sale entirely. Necessity leads to fear, which leads to, you guessed it, leverage. Note that there are diminishing returns here, because you can hit a floor or a lowball offer area where they can tell you to eat a fat bowl of Frosted Johnson because anyone would pay that price. In part, they buy convenience from you. You're there making a deal now, and they'll pay for that convenience because it's a hassle to set up another deal, unless literally anyone would pay them that much. There's a momentary illusion of exclusivity to capitalize on, which, depending on the variables, can vanish quite quickly. Disclaimer: I'm not saying you should run around trying to destroy people like Baseball Card the Barbarian, but you also shouldn't feel bad about trying to make a profit from buying sports cards, especially if it's part of how you put food on your family's table. Not to mention that people selling things often have their items way overpriced versus street value. Most everyone has that shimmer of gold glittering in their eyes because they want the most they can get. It's human nature to want more. To quote Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon, "The secret awaits eyes, unclouded by ambition. Those who are bound by desire see only that which can be held in their hands." Some mystical shit. Think about that for a minute. Rewind it. Boom. Replay it. What's up? You can simplify some of this by putting people into buckets, and I don't mean literally, by identifying them as pays retail guy or never pays retail guy, always sells shit cheap versus wants the most all the time. This is the kind of thing that you can do in your head real quick to just get a feel for who you're dealing with. Tip 3. Being a reseller is okay. There's often a stigma associated with being a reseller, and a lot of people like to keep it a secret. Or you'll hear someone say that they're happy that something is going to a good home rather than some scumbag reseller like me. But in reality, people do understand that some folks do this shit for a living or as side income. They mostly won't be upset with you about it. So it's important to kind of note that, guys. I know there's just a lot of negativity about it. I don't want them to know. But the hell with that. Just be honest, be upfront. Like, yo, I collect. I also resell because, to be honest with you, reselling helps pay for what I want to keep personally. And if you do end up paying life expenses with it, that's your prerogative. You get as much out of it as you put into it work-wise. Should you play hardball or softball? Personally, I like squeezing things, so I'm a softball kind of a guy. But let's say you're buying a basketball card collection from somebody that you likely won't deal with again, then it's okay to be a bit more aggressive and play hardball. But if you're dealing with somebody that you deal with frequently, they constantly bring you stuff to buy, whatever, you should pay them more and take a lower percentage of profit because they're making your life easier. And as the old saying goes, you can shave a goat a few dozen times, but decapitate them only once. Number 4. Get comfortable with the discomfort of confrontation. A lot of people fear confrontation, which is basically fearing the consequences of honesty. It sadly comes from conditioning. Use awareness to break yourself free of this and get used to the occasional discomfort that comes with head-on negotiation with another person, whether it's about a Patrick Mahomes rookie card, a bank fee, or an overpriced steak at an expensive restaurant that didn't come out of the kitchen the way you wanted it. You'd think that it would be the other way around, that lying would be the hard part and the truth would be easy, but that, my friends, is not the case. A lot of people are not good at being honest, and that's just reality. They're uncomfortable with sharing their real thoughts and feelings because everything we're fed from birth conditions us to believe that we should look different, think different, spend different, eat different, listen to specific popular music mostly to fit in, mumble rap and all this kind of nonsense, whatever's out there that's a product and not even art really. But most people just do things and are into things that their friends and family are into, or what's accepted as socially fundamental. And I've got news for you. All of it revolves around manipulating you and the illusion that is advertising. You're being marketed to from the moment you step out of the womb. Now, I understand that there are quality differences between products, but at the end of the day, a car is metal and wheels. A soda is liquid in a bottle. Strip off the name, strip off the fancy graphics, and get down to the factual core of what something is made up of. Ever wonder why beer commercials are filled to the brim with attractive men and women that are insanely happy in whatever situation they're in? Almost blindly so? That's because if they showed you a warm beer drinking meth head with cigarette butts stuck to their shirt and a giant mustard stain all over them, they wouldn't sell many beers, dudes. They wouldn't sell, I mean, they'd sell a few. Some people are, that's their market, right? But hey, they're selling you an illusion, an idea. They want to condition you to associate a cold beer of their brand, like coronavirus, whatever that is. Attractive, happy people are having more fun than you are, doing something that you want to do. It's an emotional trap that leads to purchasing shit you don't really want. When emotional feeling eclipses logical thinking, you make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, whoever is on the other side of that, mainly corporations, wins. Once you realize this, you can simply enjoy your cold beer with a baseball game or a football game with friends, or while you open a $4,000 box of Panini National Treasures without any guilt or regrets. And I'm not saying don't drink beer. I'm simply saying at least be aware of it and at least consider it so you can break things down to the core and understand them better fundamentally. And from there, you'll make better decisions in negotiating or just in life. So while you may feel uncomfortable negotiating, it's important to understand that you're not alone and you can alleviate that discomfort and fear by approaching it like a game. The best way to get better at the game is to be honest about your thoughts and feelings more often in life. Even if you offend people at first, they'll eventually get used to it and respect you for it because it's something that they want for themselves as well. And again, they fear the consequences of honesty. Okay, guys, we've got the heavy shit out of the way, and we're rounding the corner. Tip number 5, use predictability to your advantage. Oftentimes, people respond to offers in correlation to the amount of said offer, either from a lack of experience or the aforementioned fear of offending. And if I haven't mentioned a fear of offending yet, I did at one point in time, and people do have a fear of offending others. If someone wants $200 for something and you offer them $80, which is perfectly reasonable, their responses could be A, F off, you lowball and jive turkey, because homie don't play that. B, all right, I'll accept it. Or 3, can you do 100? The most common responses distill down to yes, no, or counteroffer. Experienced negotiators will counteroffer higher because they expect you to perhaps counter again, and you go back and forth until you reach common ground or the deal falls through, in which is essentially a stalemate and nobody wins that game. Inexperienced negotiators who still want more and are not immediately offended by your offer are often afraid of offending the other party or losing the sale, so they make the mistake of counteroffering a lower amount than what they could, which results to their offer being close to whatever you offered. If you know this, you can predict their response and put yourself in a position to capitalize on weak counterofferers, or people who aren't good at counteroffering. This is why you need to be careful of where you open with your starting offers. If you leave yourself no room to negotiate, you can't play the game. You're auto-stalemated and you lose. It's kind of like a game of chicken, whoever verbs first. Did you guys ever see that one movie? What is it, The Pink Flamingo or The Pelican Brief? Nah, that's the one dude. The Flamingo Kid, was it? Maybe it was it. I don't know. Anyway, they had pink slips and they drove the car off the edge, and then that dude from Iron Eagle could see the dead guy. Great 80s movie. Look it up or whatever. But once you get some experience under your belt, the ebb and flow of all this will become second nature. All right, guys, tip number 6. We're finally on our home stretch, and this is an easy one. Buy everything. Ask for more stuff to buy. Make the biggest deal you can, gather up everything, because it's a leverage point for negotiating a discounted price. The more you buy, the better the price. Everybody knows that. If you can buy the mug they're drinking coffee out of, all the better. Buy the wallet that their money is in. Sell it back to them after because, hey, they need a wallet. Ask about what their friends or family have for sale. Do they know anybody that has the kind of stuff that you're buying? You'd be surprised where these rabbit holes lead to. Don't be afraid to ask for a throw-in either. When a deal is almost done, unless you're purchasing literally everything that they have that you're interested in, you can always ask them to throw something in. Could be a spoon from the kitchen sink. Could be that coffee creamer that tastes so good. Could be any of it. You can get any sort of a throw-in as long as you're nearing the completion of a deal. A little sweetener, a little sweetener. Throw there a little something sweetheart. Tim Ferriss once said something that's always stayed with me. He said, to maintain your edge, you must defend against the priorities of others. That's right, you've got to defend yourself against the priorities of others. Everybody wants your attention, everybody wants your time, everybody wants your money, everybody wants your card for less, everybody wants to charge you more for gas. Make sure that you guys are doing your due diligence and that you defend yourself against the priorities of others. I'd like to also give a shout out to my friend Brad, the comeback card investor, because he inspired me to make this video initially. So check out his channel if you haven't already. Appreciate you guys joining me today. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We got new content coming out every day or so. And leave me a comment below and let me know what you guys think of this stuff. Do you like this type of strategy content? If you'd like to see more of this type of stuff, let me know. And if you'd like to support this YouTube channel, we also have a link down below in the description to our Patreon, where I try to provide more value to you guys than you're providing to me. Appreciate it. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.